What's up, guys? bob.bob.the.gamer here, coming at you with some more top deck lists. Today we have YCS Anaheim 2024. Check it out. Alright guys, so here we go. First place, we have Bruce Harris. So Bruce Harris is playing Blackwing. So a couple interesting things that Bruce was on. 2 Book of Moons. Book of Moon is kind of a card that's moved away from Blackwings. He said he just really liked it with Shura. So the funny thing about Bruce is that he had not played in 10 years. So a couple of card choices are a little funny, right? So he's only playing 2 Icarus attack, which isn't unheard of in Blackwing. And he said the reason is he didn't have the 3rd Icarus. So he replaced it with Torrential, which he said won him a couple games, but he would have definitely played the 3rd Icarus if he didn't have Torrential. Another thing is he only did 2 Blizzards, and he elected to go with the 2nd Vayu over the 3rd Blizzard, which this man is crazy for, because if you look, he is not playing Magical Android. Now, he's not dumb. The reason he's not playing Magical Android is because he said he didn't own one. The rest of the list is pretty standard. Shout out to Bruce, man. Not playing in 10 years, coming back, winning a tournament. I know he was the X2 that made it in. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So, one card that I do want to shout out is that he said that Banisher of the Radiance was MVP for him. He said Banisher and Smashing Grounds were both really good, and that he sided in Breakers for the mirror match, so that they waste the Bottomless on the Breaker, and then, you know, his Blackwings are able to kind of do their thing later on. So, congrats to Bruce for winning the whole thing, man. Way to go. On to the next. Number 2, we got Mark Garcia, Zabo91, playing another zombie list. So, Mark topped Sacramento, and he was playing Diva Hero Zombie. This time, he is on the Instant Fusion Psychic Zombie list. So, triple Book of Life, double Instant Fusion. I think that's the correct ratio. He's on 3 Recruiters, 3 Monarchs. He's on, 5 Tuners. Basically, what I've noticed about these Instant Fusion decks is that you need a way to convert, right? So, I think that that's pretty smart. He elected to go with Triple Turtle, no Tomatoes, because he wanted to have Book of Life be live as often as possible. Playing 3 Book of Life, sometimes that can break, but the Instant Fusion helps a lot with that. So he elected to go with the Triple Turtle. He said he would not change it. Triple Book of Life was definitely the way to go, especially in the format now. You can remove a level 4 Blackwing, a Vayu, a Treeborn. There's a lot of really good things you can hit. Ironically enough, he said that Psychic Commander, which is typically considered the worst of the 2 synchros, was MVP. He said it was very, very good, and it allowed him to kind of play more of a control-y style game in a way, and he didn't have to fully focus on doing OTKs. He could, but that wasn't, you know, the only thing that the deck did. Foolish, he said he was very happy with. Most zombie lists are not playing Foolish. Mark, I believe, has been running Foolish in pretty much every zombie build he's been running. He is on 1 D Prison. He said that the reason for that is because usually when people see 1 D Prison, they're going to think you're on multiple, so he just wanted to kind of play the mind game with that and save himself a little bit of space. Another card that he really liked in the main was Trap Stun. He said that the Trap Stun was super good for him. Worked out very, very well. It's kind of a meta call with all the deck divies going around. It makes sense. He also said that Smashing Ground was quite good, and that both Vanities, the Assailants were good, and the Doom Kaiser was great. He said it came up only a couple times, but when it did, it was very, very impactful. So, congrats to Mark. Move on to the next one. Man, for this one, I just need it, man. I need. Alright, so, next up, we got Cairo King, a.k.a. ATrueHero. ATrueHero is on Vayu, and there's a couple interesting things that he did in Vayu. One was that he played no Hamsters, and he ran 1 Lila and 2 Raikos with Charge of the Light Brigade. That's the first interesting. The second interesting thing is he ran Icarus Attack, which isn't unheard of. That's I wouldn't call it common, but it's, you know, relatively common to play Icarus Attack in here. Also, he was on, the biggest surprise of all, was 1 Shura in Vayu Turbo. I've actually been thinking about this for a while, but I don't main Vayu Turbo, so I don't play it very often, so I've not gotten around to testing it. If you guys know me, you know I much prefer zombies and X-Sabers. And he was also on Cold Wave. It's turning into the ATrueHero special. Speaking of ATrueHero specials, Deck Devastation Virus. Did you guys know that he was the first person to use Deck Devastation Virus? And he brought it into the meta. So anybody that gets Deck Devied for 4, yeah, send ATrueHero hate mail, because it's his fault. The rest of it looks fairly standard. ATrueHero, I know, is a very big advocate for cards that do the same thing in the sideboard, but they're different guards, right? So, for example, Fossil Dyna and Vanity's Fiend. They do the same thing. They stop special summoning, but they do it in different ways. You need different outs that are required for them. Or, say, Pulling the Rug and Mask of Restrict. They're both cards that allow you to hurt frogs, but they work in different ways, right? So, he really likes that. He doesn't like having all the same stuff. And extra deck, the last thing that I will mention is that he's not playing Armory Arm, but he's playing Android. For me, when I do play Vayu, Armory Arm doesn't come up super often. But the Android, you know, Shura attacks over a monster, special summons Vayu, and then you can make Android. You don't always want to waste your Catastor. Also, a cool thing about the Shura is that if you have Shura and Gale in hand, you can normal Shura, special Gale, have a monster, have Shura attack over the monster, special summon Vayu. You can then synchro Gale and Shura into a real Armor Master, synchro out with the negated Vayu that Shura special summoned, and then you have an 8-star, Stardust, Thought Ruler, whatever, and then you have a Vayu and an Armor Master engraved to make Silverwind and get that access really early. Is that going to come up all the time? No, but it's a cool thing that you can do. Congrats, ATrueHero. I've already told you, but way to go, man. Alright, the last of top 4. And I'm sorry, ATrueHero. This is probably the one I am most excited for, okay? This is X-Sabers top 4 in a YCS. So, just so you guys know, this YCS was 309 players. This is not some, like, rinky-dink, you know, like, 30-person tournament that X-Sabers top 4 in. No, this is a YCS with 300 people. Johnny N. Okay, Johnny ran X-Sabers, and I love X-Sabers. I think this list is pretty interesting. So, us in the X-Saber community, we have a big debate about whether Saber Hole is good or not. Personally, I like the card. It worked out for him. I've never ran 3 in the main deck, but, you know, maybe I'll test it out. So, he's still on pretty much all the standard stuff. He's on 2 Full Helm Knight, and he's on Rhoda with the Galahad to give you the additional Rhoda target. It's basically 3 Full Helm Knight, but it helps avoid deck Debbie a little bit. He's on the Rescue Camp Monk package. He's on 13 magic cards.
To the effect of this magic card,
He's pretty much on all of the extenders except for X-Saber Guard Strike. It's pretty much what he's on. He's only on 1 Trap Stun, and he's not on Cold Wave. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. Cold Wave has been very, very good to me. But I understand True Nate is very strong as well, so... And, you know, MST chaining to oppression it feels so good. Sideboard, he's on Triple Kaikus and Double Cyber Dragons. And he said that he really wanted another Trap Stun into the main, but he's not been able to work it out. He said Giant Rat was basically something that you could do to get into Rescue Cat, and it would also function as a 4th Emmer's Blade. Emmer's Blade's kind of like the key to the deck. You need to have him as a non-tuner to be able to make your synchros and stuff for high unlay, or even just Brio or Goyo. He said Sangan and Monk weren't amazing, but he really had a lot of games won because of Monk. He said that he really believed in Devil Armory Arm. He said that actually came up a lot for him. It hasn't come up a lot for me personally, but it has come up a couple times. And he said put Arcanite in attack mode, otherwise it's going to clog your field. Another thing that he mentioned was Mistworm. He said the Mistworm is kind of mid and you could take it out. I kind of agree with that. I don't ever really make Mistworm in the deck. I mean, as soon as I take it out, I would probably miss it. He had the Bottomless in side deck. He did not like it. He would have swapped them out if he owned Imperial Iron Walls and ran those. Which, as a Saber player, I can tell you Imperial Iron Wall is very, very good. During the tournament, he Trap Stun Depression 4 times. 4 times. And he also said that Compulse was really good. He said cards that he would consider siding, and he's not exactly sure. He needs to tweak it a little bit, but he said Soul Release and Thunder King Ryo are cards that he would consider putting in. That's going to be that. Just in case you guys wanted to know, his matchups were Vayu, Blackwing, Machina, and then he played a couple other things too. But yeah, X-Sabers making it to top 4. So, a friend of mine just gifted me some Turbo Pack. Got him some emergency calls. They're very expensive. So, I was very grateful for that. So, congrats, Johnny. Way to rep us Sabers, man. All right, moving on to top 8 here. Alright, so the first deck we're going to talk about, Homam J, and he has Fish OTK. So this man is kind of wild, okay? He is basically playing 9 Threatening Roars, okay? And what I mean by that is he's playing Teva that he can tribute out with Treeborns, and he can bounce this with Swap Frog, right? And this is going to make your opponent not be able to declare an attack on his or her next turn. He's playing 1 Battle Fader. He said he would have liked to have played more, but Deck Devastation is a card. And then he's playing Triple Threatening Roar and Double Wabaku. really, Threatening Roar for this tournament has been... Threatening Roar and Trapstun are probably two of the biggest cards I would take as takeaways out of this tournament. The way that this deck kind of works, just to give you guys a quick little sum up, is Coelacanth special summons as many fish as you can. So the monsters he's going to special summon are going to be Fishborg, it's going to be Oystermeister, it's going to be this Swampio, which is basically a 4-star tuner, and then it's going to be this Metabow Shark. Metabow Shark's good for late game when he needs to put 2 fish into the deck. I mean, that can definitely help out. That's why he plays the 1 Pot of Avarice too, in case he needs to get to late game and do that. He said basically he was using those cards, the Teva, the Threatening Roar, the Wabakus, and the Battle Faders to just turn skip, and then he would just wait, and he would set up his OTK. He was talking about a couple different things he can do. So the Coelacanth plus 1 of his fish, the Fishborg Blaster, that's going to be Colossal Fighter, and then Fishborg Blaster plus the Oystermeister, that's going to be Armory Arm. So making Armory Arm Colossal OTKs in this deck is super, super, super easy. As you can see, the deck has 0 defense aside from the turn skips, so that's really all he needed. Problem cards against this deck, he said Herald of Orange Light, Vanity's Fiend, Archlord Christia. He said as far as Extricate goes that Cataster's probably cuttable. He said if you wanted to add something else, it's probably okay. He said Mistworm is definitely a must, as is the 3 Armory Arms. Congrats, Mom. Way to bring a unique deck in, man. Super cool list. I might have to try this. On to the next. We have good old Diva Hero. This is what a true hero should have been playing. But this is by Oscar R. So Oscar R is not playing the Gold Sarcophagus, okay? That is definitely something that's kind of interesting that some Diva Hero players are maybe into. He's also not on Triple Caius. He's on 2, which he said probably won him a lot of games. He said the Caius was good, but a lot of times he would brick on it with 3, or if you just top deck it, you just kind of lose. He said that Wing Blast was not very good for him. Couldn't decide between Compulse or Wing Blast. In most games, he was siding out the Wing Blast for the second Compulse. He said that he likes True Nade over Trap Stun. Or he plays to where you can be a little control-y and you don't have to OTK. So that's where things like Necrogardna and things like that come up. He said he really liked the Armageddon, 1 Armageddon and 1 Grepher. He said that that was a really good ratio for him. But good old faithful for him. He's won multiple tournaments with it, or top multiple tournaments, I should say. All right, up next, we got Juan M, a.k.a. Swagger. Swagger's list was a little bit different than the one that he ran in the RBT. So a couple different changes that he had. He went down to 1 Vayu, and the reason for that is he wanted to play a second Trap Stun. He said Trap Stun was absolutely amazing for him. It was super good all day. His game plan was pretty much to play for the mirror match. He said SoCal is pretty well filled with Blackwings. He wasn't expecting a lot of Vayu or Frogs. Obviously, run into them, but he thought the main thing that he was going to do was run into Blackwing. So he wanted to prepare for the mirror match. He's actually considering a 3rd Trap Stun. He said he almost dropped Death Shoot, and he almost dropped Solemn Judgment for another Trap Stun. As far as the top 8 goes, he said half of them are from Card Addiction, which is their locals, which he said was like 5 minutes from the event in Anaheim. Shout out to them. He said he didn't want to main deck Devi, again, because he's trying to play around Blackwings. And yes, while it can hurt them, a lot of times it's hitting like 1 card, and then, you know, it's just kind of chilling. He said sometimes that he'll side out an Icarus attack or a Bora. He took out Noblements for this event, and he did not side in the skill drain. He believes in 3 Noblemen or 0, because you want to see it turn 1. He's playing 2nd Stardust just because he's on Devil Starlight Road. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Lightsworn. So Pure Lightsworn by Joseph A. And Joseph ran a fairly standard list, I would say. A couple of notable things is he's not running Arcus, which is kind of crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a Lightsworn list do that. He's also on 2 of the Monster Reincarnations and 1 Beckoning Light. He's on Mirror Force in the deck, because most people don't expect that out of Lightsworn. He's on 3 Wolf, 2 Celestia, triple Lila, 1 Pot of Avarice. Yeah, only 2 Consecrated Lights. But he really likes the Gale in there. That's kind of like his special tech. He said Gale with Lila. I mean, it's just, Arcanite's just such a good card. That's going to be it, guys, for the top 8 deck list from Anaheim. As always, I will have the videos talking about the event, so you can get their thoughts yourself, as well as the deck list linked in the description. If you guys enjoyed this video, check out one of these other deck lists over here. Consider liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.